Hey guys, I'm Mobile back again. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Galaxy S23 Ultra after using it for 1 week. Please check out my daily videos if you haven't already. I've been vlogging every single day with this phone just to see what my experiences has been, and this is going to be my 1 week recap. I've also been using the regular S23 and the S23 Ultra at the same time every other day. I had to switch phone, take my SIM card out and put it into the other. And it's been a decent experience so far. I'll be able to tell you what my full experience has been like with the S23 Ultra. In terms of the biggest upgrade you're going to see from year to year, the only spec you really need to know is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. It is a huge improvement over the 8 Gen 1 last year. And you can notice that in terms of performance and battery life. Overall, design-wise, it looks exactly the same as the S22 Ultra last year. If you hold two phones side by side, you're not going to really notice the difference. But if you look at it even closer, you would notice that the edges are a little bit more squared. The design, they tweaked a little bit just to make it more comfortable to hold in hand. Last year when I was holding the Galaxy S22 Ultra in the hand, it felt very sharp the way they designed it for whatever reason. But this year they fixed that. It's pretty comfortable to hold. But I guess at the same time you put a case on it, it wouldn't be an issue with this phone or the other phone. I prefer to use my phone without cases. I know it is a super expensive $1,100 phone. After taxes, it can be easily close to $1,200. But I prefer to use phones the way that it is meant to be designed, so no cases for me. My philosophy has always been I treat these phones like my baby. You wouldn't drop a baby, so you wouldn't drop your phone. And with the S23 Ultra, charging speed is not that much of a difference. We're getting 45 watt fast charging. They had that since the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Then they took it away with the S20 and now they put it back. So not groundbreaking there. But at the same time, the battery has been significantly improved this year, and I am quite impressed that I had at least a couple of days of full all-day battery life with this one. Under light usage, heavy usage, I average anywhere from 13 to 16 hours. So it all depends on what type of user you are. And this phone has excellent standby time, which is something I can say about other Samsung phones in the past. On heavy usage day, I can achieve a full 24-hour battery life. And it all depends on your personal style. If you have your phone sitting on the desk a lot of time, if you're working, or you're constantly on it every single second. But in terms of battery life, it is pretty solid for standby time. Screen on time could be better though. I've only been achieving like 4 hours and 15 minutes on average. The highest I got so far was 5 hours and 40 minutes. On one end, I'm not on my phone like 8 hours straight, so I don't necessarily need the 8 hours of screen on time. But it would be nice to get a little bit more there. I know there's always going to be people in the comments telling me they're getting 6 to 10 hours. I have no idea how you guys do it. But for me, I just use my phone stock out of the box. I don't really make too many tweaks. And I don't even have Quad HD on or anything like that. I just left everything exactly the way it is. Just use the phone for weeks straight the way Samsung meant for you to do it. I know they don't want you to use Quad HD even though it is in the phone. But I think it's fine. This phone has a lot to like. It is a massive phone, 6.8 inches for those who like large phones. Me personally, I prefer phones in the 6.1 to 6.3 inch range. 6.8 is super hard to handle, and if you ever need to press a button all the way in the top right hand corner or the other end and you're holding it, it's really hard. You gotta do some phone gymnastic, tilt your phone a little bit, and then slide your finger all the way to the top. It takes a lot of practice, especially using it with one hand. If you're using it with two hands, which is what this phone is designed for, then it is fine. And since you got two hands, you can also take advantage of Galaxy S Pen. Samsung got rid of the Note series, so the Ultra series is now the Note series, which I think is fine. The Note series has always been Samsung's best spec phone, and this is the best specs that Samsung had to offer. Even on the Fold, that phone is a more expensive phone, but in the past it hasn't always had Samsung's best camera and all the latest technology. It is a little bit more experimental. Although Samsung's really trying to push folding phone for the future, the Ultra phone is the safest and best phone you can get from Samsung today. In terms of RAM, I'm surprised it comes with 8 gigs of RAM for the base model. But if you want the 12 gigs of RAM, you gotta pay a little bit more for the 512 model. Currently, I'm on the 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte model. If you pre-order these Galaxy phones, they tend to give you incentives like the storage upgrade and the RAM upgrade. So I pretty much did that, and I got the upgrade for the starting price of the S23 Ultra. It's running on Android 13, so no surprises there. Latest that Android has to offer. One UI 5.1, everything is super smooth. I like the ability to turn my Wi-Fi on and off pretty easily with just one tap. Unlike the Google Pixel stock Android, you have to click on the internet and then you have to choose Wi-Fi and then you can turn Wi-Fi off. Super annoying, but that's still gonna bother me every single day. It wasn't always the case though. Google started doing that since Android 12, and I wish they revert back because it's creating extra unnecessary steps. In terms of camera upgrade, on paper, Samsung got the 200 megapixel camera, 12 megapixel wide camera, 10 megapixel 3x camera, and 10 megapixel telephoto camera, and also another 12 megapixel front-facing camera. I know those are a whole bunch of numbers, don't really mean much to most people, or really shouldn't. Like the highest megapixel doesn't necessarily mean the best phone, but overall, the camera on this phone is awesome. I have no complaints. Picture quality is great. You can take your phone out, snap anything, and you know you're gonna get a great photo. Night photos are awesome as well. I got some great photos of trees. I'm not going around at night taking photos or anything like that, but just doing it for demonstration purposes. But even the photo itself looked better than the scene outside, is what I can say. And you're into taking a picture of the moon, then you're in for a treat. If you go in at 100x of the zoom, it's going to generate a beautiful picture of the moon. I don't think any other phones can do this right now, but I think that's pretty cool. I'm still not convinced it is the actual picture of the moon. Maybe they're using AI software and doing some Google search and dumping it in there. But either way, the picture came from the phone. That's what it looks like, and you can show it off to your friends and family. It's a 5G phone, so no surprises here. All high-end flagship phone have 5G these days. Gorilla Glass Victus 2, so there's an upgrade there. Glass is stronger. It is still glass though, so don't throw it against cement. Video recording on this phone is awesome. I love all the Samsung camera features. You can do the director's mode, where you can do a vlogging style. You can zoom in as much as you want, or you could just use the regular camera the way it is. Sound quality is actually really good. I walk around with these phones and I vlog every day, and it's windy and loud outside, but the mic picks up pretty well. I'm pretty soft-spoken, so I'm not screaming into these phones. Don't want to look like a maniac walking around yelling into it, but the mic is pretty good and sound quality is decent as well. Price is probably the biggest downside of this phone. At $1,100, I think it is too expensive, but you are getting a lot though. You're getting a large phone, Quad HD, S Pen, top of the line specs for all those who need it. But I think if you prefer smaller phones, the Galaxy S23 is actually a pretty big upgrade as well. They have the same chip and pretty good battery life, easier to use with one hand, and if you don't need the S Pen, all the extra bells and whistles, the S23 might be a better choice unless you absolutely need a really large phone. And pretty much all high-end flagship phone these days have 120Hz refresh rate, but overall it's a pretty powerful phone. And with it being such a big phone though, it is very heavy. I still think it's too expensive, but all depends on your personal needs. For me, I personally prefer the smaller Galaxy S23, but I'm still going to continue to test this out. I know the Ultra is a fun phone, but I don't really use all the pro features every single day. And battery life wise, it is a little bit of an improvement. I guess you do get a better battery life. So with the regular S23, I get about 13 hours of battery life. With the Ultra, I average close to 16 hours. You get a little bit better screen time with the Ultra as well. So you have the extra cash to spare and you want all the pro features, then get the Ultra. If you're like me and prefer phones under the $1,000 range, I think the $800 S23 is a better phone for most people. Just easier to manage. You can hold it in one hand, feel comfortable with it, and pretty decent camera, same chip and everything as well. But that wraps up my first big review of the Galaxy S23 Ultra. It's an awesome phone. On the outside, it looks exactly the same as the S22 Ultra last year, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is a huge improvement just in terms of performance and battery life. I've never been able to achieve a full day battery life before with any Android phone. I achieved it first with the regular S23, and now I also achieved it on the Ultra. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please check out my daily vlogs if you haven't already. Remember to like and subscribe. Please let me know what your experience has been with the S23 or the Ultra, and I'll see you guys in the next video.